welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since we haven't done a nice little planty video. So as I came back from vacation, I came back into the wideness of taking care of plants and taking care of everything, and yeah, so I thought it would be like nice and cozy to, you know, have a chit chat, our usual chit chat while repotting something. And today I wanted to do a focus on Hoyas because that's one of my favorite species, and I think I've learned a few things during the past few years that can hopefully be helpful for you as well, and I wanted to share all of these things with you. So yeah, I did not introduce myself. Hi, my name is Kim. I am a plant mom. Anyways, let's repot some Hoyas and chit chat a little bit. Let's go. So I think you can see it, but I have my, you know, my little table, my usual little table where I repot my plants here, and today the focus will be on my beautiful but in need to be repotted Hoya Mathilda Splash. Yeah, I saw a few yellow leaves when I came back, and the first thing I wanted to do, if I had to do anything with my plant collection, was to repot this Hoya because this is one of my favorite plants. I know I say this a lot on this channel, and I say this about pretty much every one of my plants, but this really is one of my favorite plants, as well as others, you know. But yeah, this is the first Hoya that I own. I don't know if, no, the first one was the was my Hoya compacta variegata, but this is the first one that grew up well and gave me flowers last year for the first time. So yeah, as I was very proud, I have beautiful, you know, I have really beautiful leaves with that plant. And when I bought these plants, I thought it was a scam because it was supposed to be a Hoya Mathilda Splash, and there was not a lot of splashes, which I learned a few weeks or a few months after that, that splashes on Hoyas and on other species as well can vary if you don't have the appropriate light to bring out the actual splashes. So, you know, learning that was a big news for me because when you buy a splashy version of the species, it's often more expensive, of course, and you get pretty disappointed when you don't see the splashes. So just learning, you know, that's one first thing, like the quality of the light, the, you know, quantity and quality of the light can change how splashy your plant can be. And I've been pulling my plastic pots in this glass jar where, I don't know if you can see it, but there is water sitting. I don't know if you can see it with the lights, but yeah, there is water sitting in the bottom of the glass jar, so it does increase the humidity of the roots, which I learned that Hoya loves, you know, another thing. Yeah, Hoyas loves humidity, and that was a big news for me because, you know, whenever, it doesn't matter if you have like a big collection of Hoyas or a big collection of plants at all, but something that you learn along the way of taking care of plants is that you can see sometimes the need for humidity in a plant in the thickness of the leaf. So, you know, succulents or cacti, they are thick and often you will have to water them less because they have the, you know, they can't support themselves with the water that is inside the leaves, you know. So whenever you see thick leaves, it often means that doesn't need that much water or humidity, you know. But Hoyas, they are a surprise because they, for the most part, have thick leaves. Some of them don't, but yeah, a lot of them does. And you will think that, hey, it doesn't need that much water, or hey, that much humidity, you know. And next thing you know, it actually does need, like, doesn't really need as a word, but it does like a lot of humidity. And what I'm seeing right now, I don't like it. I think I'm gonna have to propagate some of them because I think, yeah, sorry, you can't see anything that I'm doing. I'm just putting out the plants from the pots. So yeah, that was one of the, oh my god, that was one of the most important things that I learned about Hoyas, is that they actually like, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna work. I'm making a mess right now. And so yeah, I was saying that this is actually a incredible news, you know, like thick leaves but lacks humidity. And whenever you experiment with Hoyas, some people like to put them on poles or on wood planks so they can, you know, climb, like pothos, like monsteras and everything. And so with that information, you know that it can grow roots out of the vines. That's why humidity, they like it, because they, with the ambient humidity, they are able to grow roots out of the vines. I don't like this at all. I see a lot of dead roots. I don't like it. So dead roots plus yellow leaves, and not only yellow, but also like they don't look good. Ew. Like, look at these. I don't know if you can see it. This is not just yellow. There is not an ounce of life in this leaf. Like, it will go back, I am sure of that, because when I got this Hoya, actually it was I don't know if it was two vines or one that I cut and propagate two separate vines. I think that's what I did, because at the time when I bought it, it was from an Etsy seller and I didn't have much money, so I think I bought a single vine that I cut into two pieces and I propagated the two pieces. I kind of want to cut everything, every roots, and start over with these plants, because you can see that, yeah, the roots here, they are rotted. I'm gonna cut a lot of it, and you can also see from the, you know, the state of the leaves that it doesn't looks really good, you know. So okay, and actually the first time that I had flowers on my Mathilda Splash. The first time that I start to grow new leaves from my Nova Ghost, which I'm gonna show you right after the repotting. I'm gonna do like a little updates on my Hoyas, on my different Hoyas. All of these times where I had like very exciting news about my different Hoyas, where at times where I had a high humidity, whether it was in my actual home like during the summer or mostly springtime, or whether it was in an actual greenhouse, you know. The only one that got some really bad time was my compacta variegata, which I think was because she was actually like sick with trips, and with the greenhouse it didn't help at all. Trips, they like hot and humid weather, and the greenhouse is the perfect place for that. So as I didn't notice the trips, it was a little bit too late for my compacta. I think I showed you in one of my videos me trying to save my compacta and propagate it, and I'm gonna show you also the updates after the repotting of my Mathilda Splash, because there is some exciting news. Not the best news ever, but pretty exciting still. So yeah, I'm just trying to, sorry, you can't see anything. I'm just trying to get all of my mess into one pot. Yeah, so basically, if I had to choose one of my favorite Hoya from my collection right now, is my Nova Ghost, because I'm just in love. The fact that I figured how to get her into pushing out some leaves is incredible, because when I got this plant, I was not, I was kind of confident about taking care of another Hoya, but I quickly learned on the internet and on YouTube, like, these plants, it's very hard to grow new leaves from her. And I actually managed to, find a way, and she has been like pushing out some leaves since I got her. At first she was in my little greenhouse, but I don't know, the lights, I don't know what it was, but something was not like working. And after that, I just put her, by the window, and she didn't do anything. And after that, I put her into my what you can see here, artificial lights with a few plants. And while I did, that changed everything, and that started to work on these plants, was to put water on the bottom of the pot, like putting my plastic pot into a ceramic thing and putting little splash of water at the bottom, so she can always sit with high humidity on the roots or under the roots. And she has been like thriving since then. I don't know why I think of that or how, but yeah, since that she has been thriving. Oh my god, I really don't like this I'm propagating. So one vine propagating, and then she started to grow roots and grow roots and grow new roots, and eventually, like really quickly after that, I had like 2 new leaves and then 2 new leaves, and now she's actually pushing a vine, like, because the first 2 rows of leaves were pretty like very close to each other, so it's not a real vine. It's like it's making like like a flower of leaves. I don't know what to think of that. Oh my god, everything is rotted, like for real. I don't like this at all. Okay, let's start over with this piece. I'm too tired to try to detangle the good roots from the bad roots because everything looks horrible. The second piece I'm gonna propagate, and then eventually, like right now, she's pushing a vine with two very tiny new leaves starting to form. And yeah, I'm thinking about maybe repotting her just before winter, so she has all of the room she needs when springs arrive, because as you know, I'm not perfect, and I'm not perfect as a plant parent, and I'm always behind on repotting sessions. And I think at least for this baby that has been working so hard to push out something, I should be like ahead sometimes. And this time I want to be ahead of it and try to, anticipate the spring, the upcoming spring, and the time where she's not gonna have enough room in the pot for, to grow all of the roots she needs. This part is not is a little bit less damaged, but still, like, there is not a nice, this is not a very nice root ball actually. I don't know what to keep, what to, Okay, so I washed her thoroughly, so everything is clean, everything is normally pest free. And I was telling myself when I was like washing it in the actual bathroom that she's very resilient, and that's one thing about Hoyas. And I also learned that with my compacta variegata, is that Hoyas are very resilient. This thing didn't have any roots like working, everything was watered, and still we have a pretty good amount of leaves, even if they look a little bit thirsty, those curled Hoya leaves, because there isn't any roots supporting the plant. They are still alive, and look at this big part of the plant that is still, not thriving, but living off of such a little, all of this is being supported by this little piece of roots. So another thing that I learned with Hoyas is that they are really resilient. I think I'm gonna repot and propagate my Hoya in this terracotta pot. This is the only like big enough terracotta pot that I still own. All of the others are plastic pots, and I think it's gonna be better for the Hoya to breathe while growing some new roots. And also, fun fact, I think this terracotta pot is the first pot that my Mathilda Splash got in when I had it. I will try to find some pictures of that, but I'm pretty sure this is the first pot she was in, or one of the first, because this pot was at the time suspended in my room, in my parents' house, in my childhood room. It was suspended, and I remember it like the vine crawling out of the pot and dropping. Anyways, so my compacta, she was one of the first, if not the first expensive, like rare-ish at the time, plant that I owned, because at the time you could not find these kind of plants at European or Parisian plant shop. Like there isn't a big, you know, rare or tropical plant scene here, and at the time there wasn't any, so you can only find those online, and I was very young, so you know, it was not my thing to buy online, and mostly not buying plants online, you know. So yeah, my compacta has been like one of the first real OGs of my plant collection. And I think, sorry for the noise, it's my turtle. He's like, I don't know what he's doing, but he's awake and very like, he's feeling like very silly. My compacta didn't really like had a time thriving, you know. It was never thriving. I never had any flowers. All of the new leaves, 50% of them were full white, so there were actually like not there wasn't enough green to support the leaves, so all of the white leaves were always, you know, falling on their own at some point, and the other leaves that grew were okay and nice, but it was not doing like a big vine, you know. It was always like getting, you know, a little bit bigger, but in a compacted way, like it's a compacta. Flash news. But you know, a lot of people can, you know, grow vines full of, you know, compacted leaves, but a full vine of it. And I never was able to grow a full vine of my compacta. So we stayed there for years and years and years, but I was still happy with it because she was pretty, and I really like the variegation on this plant, and I really like Hoyas, and you know, there were a lot of things that I really liked about this plant. But yeah, and it started to decline, and I don't know at one point where I was with her, but I started to like think to myself, okay, it's getting like pretty bad, like a lot of leaves are getting yellow, or you know, falling, dying, and the roots, I don't see them, what's going on, you know. So I tried to get her out of the pot, and I think it was on camera in one of my repotting videos, and actually there was no roots, like everything was dying. All of the roots were pretty much rotted, and the plant itself was, you know, not doing very good. So I tried to propagate it, and I think in the video you can see myself put one big piece in water and two little pieces. The two little pieces, they died. They did not, like, I had them for a while, but no roots was growing, you know. And actually the bigger piece that I put into water also, I didn't have any roots for a while, like weeks, and at some point I was desperate, like no roots is growing, the end of the stem was starting to rot because, you know, it's underwater and there's nothing supporting the plant, you know, no roots is supporting the plant. So yeah, and I was starting to lose some leaves as well, and I was like, okay, my compacta is gone, like I have this stem with no roots, I can't grow roots out of the water from it, and you know, I don't know what to do. Like, actually I don't know what to do with her. And as one last, you know, act of desperation, and I don't know what was that, but I was like, okay, you know what, let's try again with this little piece, you know. I was very miserable because this is one of my favorite plants, like, as I told you. And I actually like lost a lot of plants and expensive plants during this summer like a lot of interiors and everything. So I was like pretty upset and mad about it. And at one point I was like, okay, I'm gonna just put it in, you know, in soil and put a glass jar, you know, on top of it and call it a day, you know. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you know, it's not that big of a deal. I had this plant for a while, but it was never thriving, you know. I was trying to, you know, get myself around the fact that I was gonna lose her. And actually it worked. Like, what? Actually taking care of a plant works. Like, no, but seriously, the humidity from the glass jar plus the plant being in wet soil and not directly underwater helped a lot. And like, it made a difference. Like in a few days I started to see some roots growing out of the stem, like even from the outside part of the stem. But yeah, it's doing something great, and I'm just gonna leave it like that, praying, and then just before the winter, still like my Nova, I'm gonna repot her into something bigger, and so she can, you know, hopefully thrive during spring. So this is, yeah, I know that the pot looks ridiculous, but what I like about this pot is that the elongated part of the pots is very great for Hoyas. I really hope that she's gonna, you know, fight back and grow some roots. I'm gonna try to increase the humidity for her somewhere in some type of way and pray for the best. And yeah, normally she will be fine because she has still a lot of great leaves, healthy leaves, and even if we have two vines without roots, and even if the actual root ball of the big part of the plant is small, it is still active and there is some healthy roots, you know, so she can start over from something at least. So yeah, that's what we are gonna work with. I can't wait for her to get back on track and to thrive again, and maybe next year we're gonna have maybe a flower. I don't know, I hope so. So yeah, this was my focus on Hoyas. I don't know if all of my chit-chatting, you know, if you learned anything or if it was interesting for you, if you already knew all that and I was the only one not knowing that Hoyas loved humidity. But yeah, it was a nice time. I love chit-chatting with you guys. Yeah, it was great. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it myself, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!